Hi there. I'm going to quickly show you how I use Calendly to save myself a lot of time. I've been trying as much as possible over the past year to automate as much as I can in my life and leave my mental energy for the things that really matter. And one of the things that used to drive me crazy was all that email back and forth about trying to meet with someone or have a call or a Skype call and say, oh, how's this day? And that day's not good. How about this day? How about this time? And 10 emails later, you would finally get on one day and time that you could both meet together. Waste of time, too much stuff in the inbox. And so I heard about Calendly, and I honestly call it a godsend because it's been so great. I immediately paid for it, which I think for the yearly fee that I paid was very reasonable for what it does for me. But you can, for free, also use it, and I'll explain how and what the differences are in a second. So once I've logged into Calendly, I come to my dashboard, and here I can see upcoming events that have been scheduled by people. And I had one that was canceled today and then rescheduled for December 16th, so you'll see it here in my dashboard. Now, what I like is that with the paid feature, account of Calendly, is that I can create a bunch of different event types. And this is the difference between the paid and the free. With the free version of Calendly, you can only do one event type. So for example, if you are a therapist and you have 1 hour appointments with people, then you create that 1 hour event type and then you send out the link to everybody for them to schedule time with you. But myself, I have sometimes 15-minute calls, half-hour calls, maybe 1 hour lunch. I also do a live streaming video project that I call Bright Minds, which needs to be an hour. And so I have made different event types, and I like that with the premium account that you can create as many as you'd like. So you see here that I have a whole bunch of different events that I've created. The most common ones that I use are 15-minute call, 30-minute meeting, and 60-minute meeting. And all I need to do is send this link out to people. So let me just click on the 15-minute one, for example. And you'll see here the link is easy to remember so that you can just give it to people anytime. Calendly.com/jamiegood/15 minutes. And this just gives you the date range that is showing up here on the page. And then you'll see here that if I send this link to people, it will tell them to pick a date and time. It's a 15-minute call with Jamie Good, so it tells them what the event is or what the thing is. And then I've put a note here, phone or Skype. Calendly detects your current time zone. Consider this if you're booking now in a different time zone than when you'll be the day of the call. So I've put that note in myself just to make people realize that if they are in the West Coast, for example, in British Columbia or something, that just to pay attention to the time zone thing that Calendly does, which I really like, that it detects your own current time zone and it makes it easier for people to figure out when they're available. So then when you go down, if you are going to get this link from me, you'll see that I have 3 start times tomorrow, 6 start times on Friday, etc. And it will give people options of when they can connect with me. Now, I think you're already realizing what this is in terms of a beneficial thing for you in terms of productivity, is that you don't have to be going back and forth with this person to figure out when they're free or not. It's up to them to decide what's the best time for them to connect with you. And I like that much better. I just make sure that my calendar is up to date. I look at it like every Sunday night or Monday morning. I go into Google Calendar. I fit in the things that I need, for example, priorities, events, travel, or whatever I have that's coming up. And that automatically syncs with Calendly, so it will change. You'll see here that I have different start times depending on certain days because I've already made sure that my calendar is up to date. And it's not just Google Calendar, you can use Outlook, etc. And so tomorrow, for example, I'm speaking at an event, and so there's no available times for me tomorrow afternoon. And so I don't need to worry about someone choosing a time to meet with me or talk to me when I'm already busy. And I don't know if you're like me, but in the past, sometimes I would double book because I had forgotten to put something in my calendar or forgot to check, and now I never have to worry about that anymore, and I just love it. So let's choose, for example, say you are wanting to meet with me, a 15-minute call. Tomorrow, there are 3 start times available. You choose the one that works best for you, let's say 10:30 a.m. Then you can confirm that, so easy. And then here you put in your information, phone number, Skype name. For example, will you be using phone or Skype? And then the topic and focus for your chat. I have created these questions in my settings, and these are the questions that I would like people to answer, that it makes easier for me when I get the thing in my calendar or when Calendly emails me to say, oh, you have a new appointment, I can see the person's number, Skype name, whether they use phone or Skype, and then what their topic focus is for the chat. So I know ahead of time what the conversation is going to be about. And then they just schedule the event, and then what happens next is that they get a confirmation of this, and I get a confirmation of it, and it's automatically synced to my calendar. I don't need to do anything else. It's so fantastic, so easy. I'm sure you're already seeing how handy this can be for you. So let's go back, and I'll show you how you can create an event and why I think this is such a great feature and why I went premium. So you can choose one-on-one event types or group. And so I've created a few events in the past for when I've done some of my live streaming video chats where I've made it like a webinar event, and that means that I can put out my Calendly link and have a number of people. I can state the maximum number of people, for example 100, and have people be able to sign up for my live chat and then have that go into their calendar. And so that's a really nice feature that I like as well. But let's just do a one-on-one event because that's the most common one that most people are using it for. So then I'll put my event name, let's say 20-minute phone call, for example. And then the duration, of course, is going to be 20 minutes. Sorry, so I'll just put that there. The description or instructions, so this is where I put a message to people. So for example, please consider time zone. There's the Calendly link. Now I can change that, and I have for mine because I like making it shorter so that when I send it to people it's easy for me to remember. So I put 20-minute there, and then all I need to do is tell people that link or send it to them. I can choose event color, and sometimes I do that just to make it easier for me to see in the dashboard if I come into Calendly what I've got going on. Then I can choose my availability, and this is something I really like as well. So you can choose certain days. So let's say, for example, that like personally, I don't want to have 4 or 5 different half-an-hour calls in one day because then I would never get anything done. And so I can choose to just have 2 calls that day, for example, or between 10 and noon, or just between 1 and 3 p.m. I can choose when I want these to happen, and I think that's a really great thing as well, so that it helps you take control of your calendar as opposed to other people taking control of your calendar. So if I just go in here and edit, then I can choose that the event starts every 15 minutes as well, so that gives me the opportunity to be able to put little buffer zones in between these appointments, so that if I need to travel or if I just want to maybe take a break in between the calls, then I can do that type of thing here and add intervals, and then I can apply to which days I want that to happen. Fantastic, super easy. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is right now, just because this is just an experiment. So it's 9 to 5 p.m. that I'm available on weekdays. Now, how far in the future can these events be scheduled? That's a nice, interesting piece to have as well as a feature, because maybe you have a calendar that changes quite often, or maybe you're called to certain events or certain things come along. So you might not want to give people that much time in advance to schedule an event because your calendar changes so much. So you can tweak that here. You can also say from this date to this date you want this event to be scheduled. So if you're only going to be available, for example, for a certain week or month, then you can put those dates in there as well. And you can also, of course, take advantage of these types of things to make sure that nobody books for you while you're on vacation. Then, as I said, you can edit and add questions. So for example, the default one is phone number, of course, because you would need to call the person if they do an event with you, or a call, sorry. But then you can add custom questions as well, which I have done, as you saw. Like, what's your Skype name, for example? What's the topic of conversation? And you can choose whether this is optional or not with the question. I have decided with some questions that they are required, but others I can say are optional. And then you can also delete the question if you don't want it, and save it, and you're done. I mean, it's so easy and so fantastic the way that they've set this up for you to be able to quickly create certain event types that you need. Then you can do inviting notifications, and you can also tweak this. So you get an email confirmation sent to the person, you receive one as well. You can do joint Google Calendar event. I don't do that. I prefer just to have the person get the email and they get the confirmation, which I can personalize. You can put in here in the body and in the subject line the things that you want. So for example, in mine, I have put in there details about my approach to this as saying basically what my Skype name is, that I will be calling them, etc. And just so that people know what's going on with the event type and don't have any questions, because as I said, I want to limit the amount of emails coming back and forth. You can personalize a cancellation message as well, and you can add reminders, which I do. You can personalize the reminders as well, and they can be sent the day of the event for the person is what I usually like to do. So if you're going to meet with me at noon, then probably at about 8 or 9 a.m. that day, you will get a reminder from Calendly automatically that will tell you that we have that event. And if you have to cancel or something, then you're able to do that from the email that's sent to you. So that's another great feature, as I said, trying to automate as much as possible, and Calendly will just do that automatically for you. Availability options. So here again, this is where you could do blackout dates for a vacation, for example. This is where you can choose the maximum number of this event that's acceptable per day. So for example, if you only want 2 20-minute calls to interrupt your day per day, then you can put that there. You can also then say that the person cannot schedule something like that within a certain amount of hours before that event, because let's say, for example, you're busy or traveling, you don't want to miss that because of someone just scheduling so last minute on you. So you also have the buffer. So for example, like I said, if you have travel time or something like that, you can tweak that here. So when I have my lunch meeting event type, I did put buffers before and after the event here of about 20 minutes so that I could get to the lunch on time and then get home before another meeting, for example, might be scheduled. So it helps you make sure that you don't have things really like back to back and then not realistically be able to do them without travel time, etc. Custom links is something else that I've done. So in my invitations or the confirmation email, you get a custom link that just has a link to my website and some other information about what I do. And I think it's just a nice branding thing to do, to be able to add people, sort of direct people to where you kind of live online, and that they can connect with you further even before they have their conversation with you. And then you save changes and you're done. And you have that new event type, and you have a link that you can just send out to anybody, and they can sign up easily for that 20-minute call, 15-minute call, lunch meeting, or whatever you'd like. So as I said, for the free version, you can only do one of these events. For premium, you can do as many as you want with all these different features and tweaks. And I just really think it's fantastic. It has saved me so much time and so much email that I used to spend going back and forth with people trying to figure out when and where, etc. And so I recommend that if you have regular appointments with people, if you find that you're meeting quite often with people and that you're already buried in all that email back and forth, then I think Calendly is the tool for you. It's fantastic, and like I said, you can use it free with just one event. So go for it. If you have any more questions about it, make sure to reach out to me. On Twitter, I am at jgooddfc, and I'd love to hear from you. Hope this video helped. See you next time. Thanks for watching.